What's going on, YouTube? I'm on my way back home from the gym, and while I was working out, I was thinking about a conversation that I continue to see happening in these social media streets. And that is $100,000 salary enough money for you to not only survive, but to thrive? And I have two different schools of thought when it comes to $100,000 a year salary. And the first perspective is that it's not a lot of money if you think that you're going to have an $800,000 mortgage, a big body Benz or a big body Hellcat, have a family, be able to take lavish vacations, have the freshest clothes, and be able to invest all on $100,000. And no, it's not a lot of money. I mean, that kind of lifestyle that a lot of people see on social media that they think that they can have once they hit 100,000, 150,000, I mean, even 200,000. It's just not true. And if you're one of those people that fall into that trap that think that, if you make $100,000 a year, it's not a lot of money because you can't live like someone that makes $250,000 a year lives, then that's the problem. Now, I also know that you have to take into account where you live. So in the United States, if you live in San Francisco or New York or Los Angeles or something like that, then yeah, $100,000 a year is not a lot of money, because in those places, $100,000 a year is like $50,000 to $60,000 in most other US cities. So if you take that into consideration, right, that depending on where you live, that may also play a role in it. But I'm just talking about just $100,000 a year across the board. And when I hear people say that that's not a lot of money, I just kind of laugh, especially because only roughly 15% of all people in the United States make that kind of money. So when you have all these people jumping online saying it's not a lot of money, how do they know? They're not making that money. When I see people make those comments, I know they're not making that. I just know they're not. Now, on the flip side of it, in my opinion, $100,000 a year is enough money to get you started, right? It's not enough money for you to be rich, but it's enough money to start snowballing you down to a path to where you can actually start obtaining more wealth. So if you're able to budget your dollars effectively and be willing to invest 20, 30% of the money that you're actually bringing in, then yeah, $100,000 a year is a decent amount of money. Because one thing that a lot of people don't realize is once you hit that $100,000 a year threshold, even a little bit before that, your taxes go up, right? So in the United States, we have a progressive tax system where the more money you make, the percentage of taxes that you pay goes up. And if you're not able to navigate the US tax code in order to pay less taxes, it's not going to matter if you make $100,000, $120,000, $150,000, because you're going to be taking home less money because taxes are going to eat you alive. They're going to eat you alive, especially if you live in places like California, where the tax rate is a little bit higher. It's going to eat you alive. So if you're able to budget effectively and you're able to not change your lifestyle as you continue to make more money, then $100,000 a year is more than enough money to get you started. I remember back in the late 2000s, 2008, 2009 timeframe, I was making about $80,000 a year, and I was able to support a family of four on $80,000. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, in that time, in 2008, 2009, $80,000 goes a lot further today than $100,000 will. And you're right, but I'm just using that as a comparison because even though I was supporting a family of four on $80,000, I didn't have an extravagant lifestyle. I didn't have brand new cars. We had nice cars, but we didn't have brand new cars. And we took one maybe vacation a year, and it wasn't anywhere lavish. Like we weren't going overseas. We weren't going to Dubai. We weren't going to, the Cayman Islands or wherever else that people want to go and take their pictures and pretend like they're really doing better than they are. We weren't doing that. We were taking a standard family vacation where we had kids in school. We're able to send them to school and I lived a decent life. And one thing that I was able to do is I was able to invest 25% of my income at that time, because I knew that by investing my money, it was going to be able to get me to where I wanted to be. And one of the things that I learned when I started making more money was that most people that have a lot of money, they look at money differently. They look at money as a tool to be used to earn more money. And if you're ever fortunate enough to make $100,000 a year, your life is not going to change unless your mindset changes. So whenever the next time you're out here and you hear or you see people talking about $100,000 not being a lot of money, if you know them, ask them, do you make $100,000 a year? And if the answer to that question is yes, maybe you follow up and you ask them, all right, so how are you budgeting your money? Like, where are your dollars being allocated? If they can't answer that question, then that's why $100,000 a year is not enough money. I mean, $60,000 a year is not going to be enough money if you're not budgeting your dollars effectively. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. And one thing that I always say to people is that we can make more money, right? You can make more money. You can go from making $60,000 a year to $120,000 a year. But if your lifestyle changes and you don't know how to keep your lifestyle in check, it's not going to matter how much money you make. So the same people that are saying $100,000 a year is not a lot of money are likely going to be the same people saying that if and when they ever get to $100,000, $200,000. It's not going to matter, because the more liabilities that you take on when you make more money, it's going to effectively reduce the amount of money that you have to do things with that you need to do, like investing. In my opinion, investing in real estate, investing in the stock market, investing in a business or some type of asset, it should be the second biggest line item in your budget behind your mortgage or your rent. That's just my opinion. A lot of people won't agree with that, and that's fine. But the way that I manage my financials in my everyday life is I manage it to where I'm putting more preference on putting the money that I make at my W-2 job into investment. And that's going to pay off for me. I only talk about the things that I do, right? I would never ask somebody or tell somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So I don't know. What do you think? Is $100,000 a year enough money? And again, we're excluding places like California, New York, Chicago, those big dollar expensive cities, right? We're taking that out of the equation. But what do you guys think about just $100,000 in general? Leave a comment down below, hit a like for the algorithm. And if you've seen my content in the past and you get some value from it, consider subscribing. It means a lot to me as a small content creator, because I'm just out here filming and really just documenting my life. And I hope that the content that I make brings you some value. So if it does, hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Peace.